And here we are at Atlantic Canada's first Seafood Industry Innovation Summit at the Marine Institute in beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland. I want to tell you, there's been a lot of great conversations that we're having here, a lot of collaboration, certainly a lot of people willing to share ideas. Laura, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
My name is Laura Halfyard. I'm the General Manager of Connaigre Fish Farms, which is a small mussel farm operation on the south coast of Newfoundland, and also we're dabbling in new species like seaweed.
Okay, right. So Connaigre, geographically tell us where that is in Newfoundland so people can understand that.
Down near Hermitage and Harbour Breton area.
Okay.
It's probably most of it is salmon farming down there, but we're the one other operation down there.
Right, and so mussels and seaweed right now?
Mussels right now,
Yeah.
and we're also experimenting, doing research on seaweed species as well.
Year-round mussel farming, or?
Yes, well,
Yeah.
the whole process of mussel farming is a 3-year cycle.
3-year cycle, okay.
Yeah.
But harvesting year-round, are you? Or?
Yes, not really. We on our operation on the south coast, where we provide to two of the processors, we tend to harvest at one specific time in the spring when the meats are at the highest yields, because it's then value added into frozen backpacks, and so therefore you get a better quality product. It has a unique flavor,
right?
Things like that.
So you're harvesting, are you processing there, or you're processing
No, we
off-site?
sell to a processor,
Right.
who then does the value adding.
Yeah.
So it's a higher end product than the regular product. Plus it eliminates the need for the challenges of getting fresh product off the island. Like a lot of the mussel product that goes off the island, the challenges with ferry services and then getting it, say, to Boston, New York as a fresh product. Some of the processors are looking at value added so that it has a longer shelf life of a year or more,
right.
And it still locks in the nutrients, and you just haul it out, put it in your microwave, and you've got a perfect product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, this conference, people coming together, sharing ideas. I mean, you got people there from PEI talking mussels as well. Are we learning a lot from one another here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm also on the board with CCFI,
yeah.
And also with the aquaculture, NIA. So it's a way to get ideas, because, I mean, if you're growing a product, as we are right now, or wild harvesting, I mean, you take the product and you spend all this time and effort growing it, and then there's all this wastage, byproducts.
Right.
We want to see more being done with that product for higher end.
Right.
So therefore, you know, with the mussels and with the seaweed, we're looking for higher valued options, like nutraceuticals or other higher end products than at what we're doing right now with a lot of it.
Quite a lens on that in this particular conversation, for sure,
Yep.
of finding that value, and in some cases showing value more in that byproduct than the actual main product itself. Incredible, eh?
Yeah, it is, because, I mean, like, say, it's like taking your plate and you're going to have a supper, and you're just saying, okay, I'm going to eat half and throw half in the garbage.
Yeah.
Well, you know, do you do something else with that other half? And quite often we don't look at that other half as having the ingredients in there. But if you look at, you know, say the shell of a crab or the liver, you know, of a lobster, you know, for tamale or whatever, it has a higher value of nutrients in there that we just don't often recognize.
Right.
So people are starting to look at that. Same thing, you know, do I take the mussel and do something else with it that ups its value? Do I take the seaweed and increase its shelf life, you know, from a week to a month or two, right?
It's such it's a vitally important conversation, and I guess the proof is really, if you look at Prince Edward Island, as we've learned here over the last couple of days, that not only do they have centers that focus specifically on that byproduct, but the government has a lens on it now holistically to say this is going to be our niche place in the market. And indeed, here at the Marine Institute, there's a whole center devoted to that.
Yeah, I mean, CCFI and the Marine Institute, over the years, it's been an incubator center for new ideas, new developments. So you come in and it helps you put together both what you need to look at and the funding to support that to get you through stage 1, 2, 3. So it is an incubator center, and it has fantastic services and facilities here. Sometimes it's hidden, so you need more of that awareness. But unlike PEI tends to focus more, say, on its lobster and its mussels. In Newfoundland, you've got a broad spectrum of the wild fishery, and you've got then you've also got aquaculture, the salmon industry, and the mussel industry. At the same time, we have the same problems of aging populations, that we got to look at automation, because you're not going to have the labor force there in a lot of these areas. Plus, you got to look at tracking of your equipment, because so often we lose gear in the wild fishery. So you got to have that tracking technology as well. So you both increase safety and you increase risks reduce risks to the environment.
You've hit all the high points here. You're talking about byproducts, you're talking about artificial intelligence, you're talking about automation. They're all in there, aren't they?
Yeah.
But what also I see here is a wonderful collaboration of government, industry, and academia. Everybody working together here, right? The government putting some fuel into it, spending some money to create some things, academia leaning in, as you just said.
Well, I think one speaker said, every dollar you invest, you reap so many dollars out of it. First you got to start with that investment. And that's often the bottleneck, is getting that initial investment. Larger companies tend to have the infrastructure there and more that they can address a lot of those things internally. Smaller companies like ours, you need that support to get you up to the next stage with this idea that then you can link to a larger company, or you network. Say, I can provide this product if you can do that, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I want to tell you, it's wonderful to have you in conversation. You've got a great perspective on things, for sure, and it sounds like the company's doing well.
It's, like I say, this company is in the early days of a few new things, so it's like any of these incubator companies. You got to start and then you got to go through the steps. It's a long process, but in the end, I think for the Atlantic area, you've got to be looking at this kind of thing. Otherwise, you're just back doing the same thing with the same products, and that's not going to advance us.
Thank you very much for being on the show. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.